Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Keys. I'm here with Kate Lill. We are assist with the legal support services at SCU here. We're giving our talk today on migration, as there's a lot of inquiries on visas and certain pathways. What do you do after your student visa? So thanks for joining us. My name is Alex from Atlas Lawyers. I am principal lawyer at Atlas Lawyers. We help with the legal support services at SCU. And in this talk, we're going to talk about the migration pathways first, the student visa, certain conditions, documents, and requirements. Also, a lot of frequently asked questions that we get a lot through students, but also in private practice that we have that people come to us with problems. So it's better to know before than after. And we'll let you know about our portal so you can utilize these services when you want specific advice. Which leads me to this disclaimer here. This is generic advice. This is general advice information only. It's not intended as legal advice because we don't have specific information. We want to make sure that we want to make sure that we give you some specifically tailored advice. So please, at the end of this, log on to our portal, sign up for a specific consultation with our team. Upload your documents, and then we can actually tailor our advice towards your specific situation. So what we're going to talk about today are your student visa conditions, the preparation and strategy and timing that we see a lot of, what happens at the end of the student visa, post-visa options, skilled, certain things like skilled visa pathways, and also, again, frequently asked questions and registration so you can get some specifically tailored advice. So you're listening to this, you're likely on a subclass 500 student visa. With this visa, you would be aware or should be aware that there's certain requirements and criteria that you must abide by. You must hold valid confirmation of enrollment. You must meet genuine student requirements. These have changed in 2024. As you know, the department actually is very fluid. Laws change in the migration space very frequently. So these were introduced a couple of years ago. The department is clamping down a lot on these student visas. So make sure that you abide by the conditions that we have here. Maintain enrollment, attendance, satisfactory course of progress. That's also a requirement. Hold a valid overseas student health cover. Now, you might say that's a no-brainer. We've had people come in the past after the fact, try to get another visa. They thought they can get away with not having a valid health cover for 2 years of their visa stay, and they're facing challenges now. So make sure that you actually abide by all the conditions, even if there's no response that might still end up biting you afterwards. There's also English test validities, generally 3 years, to make sure you abide by that. And Kate will talk to you about this, about the financial aspect, money requirements for your stay. Work rights, you would or should be aware of the work rights as a student on this visa. Fortnightly, 48 hours, and unlimited during the breaks. Again, the idea is you're a student, that's your primary goal here, so you shouldn't be working more than that while you're studying. Keep your address, keep it up to date with the department. Don't be a criminal. That's another aspect of it. You must keep good behavior, okay? Sometimes there's some areas people have some questions about, and that's where the specific advice comes in. You can always reach out to us for consults there. Now, preparation, strategy, and timing. A lot of people, after being here for a bit as a student, decide, well, this is a great place to grow, thrive. I can give back to become to Australia and be a productive member of society here. So I want to go beyond just my student visa. But they don't do the planning ahead. Plan as early as possible. Yes, the laws do change and there's certain areas, but if you have that intention, have that idea, don't leave it for the last minute, because that could affect your future application for visas. So plan ahead, find out what your pathways are, see what is most likely that can benefit you to stay here longer so you can be a productive member of society there. Allow for a buffer processing times. It's kind of self-explanatory, however, you'd be surprised at how many people come to us and say, oh, my visa expires in 2-3 days. Don't wait that long, because you still need to compile and prepare appropriate documentation, and you don't want to be missing anything because you're in a rush to get things out. There's a skilled occupation list. Make sure you check that. It changes sometimes, but make sure you're up to date with that and check if you're going through that route, if you would qualify and what you would need to qualify. But again, consultations ahead of time, planned ahead of time, will assist you in going that route or understanding what you would need. Now I'm going to pass it off to my colleague Kate, and she's going to talk about what happens at the end of visa, and particularly certain other visas. So Kate, come on in.
Hi, I'm Kate, as explained. I'm going to talk to you about the end of your visa and what to do when it's coming to the end or after. So, I mean, self-explanatory, make sure you apply for your visa before your expiry date. Obviously, preparation, like Alex explained in the slide before, prep your next visa well in time, a month, 2 months, so that you can get all the documents ready. Overstaying can affect your future skilled visas. You could have a 3-year ban put on your file. If you don't have adequate visa, it affects obviously your skilled visas. You cannot apply for skilled visas if you overstay and are unlawful in the country. So that's very important. If you haven't finished your course, which we do get a lot of this, complications happen and you have to push your course back, or the requirements for when your exams are. If it's the case that you haven't finished your course and your student visa is expiring, there is options for you. You can't extend your student visa, but there is an option to apply for another student visa on the grounds that you haven't finished your studies. So again, that comes down to the requirements and the documents. You would need to have a chat with us about if you are eligible to do that. Again, you need evidence from the university to kind of prove that you're still required to finish your exams and your courses. So that is an option if you haven't finished your course. Certificate of your course completion is a must for your graduate visa. For your graduate visa, you must have your certificate. If you don't receive your certificate in time of your student visa expiring and that you need to apply for your grad visa, again, there are other options that the department kind of advise on. Could be applying for a short-term visa, like a visitor visa, but again, comes down to your situation. We need to have if it's something that you need to look at, we need to have a look at your situation, have a look at your documents. Do you need to travel overseas? If you do need to travel for any sort of reason, you need to apply for your other bridging visas. Again, have a chat with us if that's something that you need to do. There's requirements and documents that need to be put in place if you're applying for a visa to go overseas. Okay. First, visa options. So your main visa after your student visa is your temporary graduate visa. You do need to be under 35 or under. There is an age requirement for that visa. It's very important during your graduate visa to gain as much experience as you can in that occupation. It's a step towards a skilled migration visa. So use that temporary graduate visa and gain experience, start planning the next step early on. As soon as you get that grad visa, start thinking, right, what's the next visa I'm going for? Look for a sponsor, look for opportunities that are going to guide you to your permanent residency. We get a lot of people not utilizing the grad visa enough. It's important, it's a stepping stone, use it for experience. And then you have a training visa, so a 407 training visa. If you're not eligible for skilled visas, there is the training visa option for you. It still requires a sponsorship, but it doesn't require as much documentation as a skilled visa would and experience. And then you have your skilled migration. So this is your point base. We are going to touch base on these a little bit more, but this is your run of visas after your student visa. And then obviously you've got your employer sponsored visa, which employers will sponsor you in that role. Okay, so your temporary graduate visa. Up to 18 months, bachelor's 2 to 3, it depends on your study time. Again, we'd have to have a look into the course that you've done and to see kind of what the department, the duration of the visa the department will give you. You've got to meet your study requirements, English test within 12 months, and you must obtain your completion letter, and you must apply within 6 months of your student visa expiry date, and you have to be in Australia when you apply for the grad visa. Again, if it's coming to the end of your student visa, or even if your student visa is due to expire in 1 year, 2 years, have a chat with us. We'll help you put everything in place so you've got the right documents and you're hitting the right requirements for that graduate visa. Your training visa, workplace-based, inside the workplace to improve your skills. Duration is up to 2 years. You must have an approved sponsor, and you must have financial evidence to show that you can stay here and support yourself as well. Your skilled migration pathway, these are your point-based pathway. So points are based on age, English score, skills assessment, work experience, education, and your relationship status. Now, independent skilled visas can be competitive. You must put an expression of interest in, and the department will invite you to apply. Again, it's a competitive industry, and you have to have 65 points minimum, and then everything else is kind of added on to that. It's something that if you do have a high English test score, a high skills assessment test score, you've got a lot of experience, it can be a good pathway to go down, but it's not guaranteed. You're not guaranteed for the department to invite you to apply for that. So it's good to have a backup in place in case you don't have an invitation. Okay, and obviously your skilled occupation list. Your occupation must be on that skilled list for all of these visas. Let's cover that on employee sponsored visas. You've got 2 employee sponsored visas. You've got the 482, which is normally what you'd go for first. That one is 1 year relevant work experience. You must have an approved sponsor for that. Again, skills assessment is needed, English test is needed, and that is a pathway towards your 186. Your 186 is your permanent residency visa. That one is 3 years relevant work experience. You normally need to be sponsored for 2 years on the 482 to be eligible for the 186. Again, a lot of different requirements for that. It depends on your experience, your what you've studied. So again, if that's something that you think you're eligible for, have a chat with us. We can look at your documents, we can look at your past experience, and we can see if you can jump onto that visa. Okay, so here's a table to kind of explain the duration, work rights, and pathway of each visa we've discussed there. And that's something that you can have a look at to see which visa you would fit into after your student visa. And frequently asked questions. Frequently asked questions that we get from a lot of the students. How many points do you need? 65 is the minimum, but for independent visas, you want to get as high a points as you can, which means getting a good English test score. So prior to kind of doing your English test, study for it, prep for it, do tests before, do like practice tests before if you can. Get that high score so that your points are up. There is a points calculator on the immigration website as well that you can use to calculate the points. If you don't feel like you've got high enough points, there is kind of little bits that you can add to that, other tests that you can do to kind of get your points up. What if you fail your English test? Again, you can resit that English test. You can resit it again in another 3 days, 6 days. There isn't really a minimum amount that you can do that. You just need to hit the English requirements for that. Okay, so is what I'm studying a skilled occupation? That is one of the main requirements to go onto skilled visas and the 407 trade. You must have a skilled occupation on that list, or you are not eligible for those visas. What counts for working hours for a skilled visa? Paid work in the nominated occupation, minimum 20 hours per week, must be post-qualification and supported by evidence. You need to keep all of your documents in one place, your pay slips, reference letters, keep them all together. I know it's difficult to kind of keep all of the documents in one place, but it will be very handy when it comes to applying for that visa, to have all of your pay slips in one area, to just submit them to the department for your skills assessment as well. Okay, what happens if my completion letter doesn't arrive in time? We touched base on that a little bit. If your completion letter doesn't arrive in time, you can look at applying for a short-term visa. But again, the department that are looking at your application, they are people, they are understandable. If you explain to them that you don't have your completion letter and that the uni have told you in writing that you won't get the completion letter until after your visa expires, put that evidence in, explain to the department why you're applying for the visitor visa, just to pass that time after your visa expires. Okay, so quote of the day: education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Australia is an amazing place, and yet everyone wants to come here and explore it. If you want to make a difference here, it's all about giving to the life here. The skilled occupation list is there because they are lacking in that skill. If you can come to Australia and show that you're going to be an asset to the society, that's what we want here.
Thanks, Kate. Thanks. So to sum up, basically, plan ahead, give yourself some time, and keep documentation. The more documentation, the better. But once again, we've been mentioning this for specific consultations. Please use a QR code, log in on the portal, register, book in a time for us virtually, and we'll have a more detailed, in-depth, specific chat with you guys. But thanks for your time. Thanks for listening, and have a great day.